Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. Our mission is to see a world well led. And our strategy to get there? To empower leaders like you to lead every day. So let's get to work.
I hope you created the first draft of your plan, or at least you're planning to. You got 2 more days if you haven't done it yet. We're writing out these plans to help us have our best year ever. Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. I'm Randy Gravitt.
And I'm Mark Miller.
I'm really excited that we're getting to push on this a little deeper today, because we're talking about what do we do with the plan once we do. And here's one of the things I found is when I have a plan, if I'm not careful, if I don't go public with it, I can actually just stick it in a drawer, and the plan doesn't do you any good if you don't share it with somebody. And so today we're talking about who do you need to share your plan with? How do you go public with that? And really who around you can help you when it comes to it. I know sometimes when we start sharing our plan, we get surprised a little bit. You got a story about that.
Yeah, I got surprised, but let's go back before why would we share our plan? I mean,
Yeah.
let's spend a minute on that. One of the things that I have found very helpful over the years is to get input.
Yeah.
So I think we chose the language carefully when we asked you guys to put together a first draft, because I think you're going to be better if you share that first draft with people who know you and care enough about you to give you honest feedback. So I think that's
Before you create your final draft.
Before you create the final plan.
That's good.
I think that's one reason.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What happens when you begin to share it before you make those adjustments? You do find some stuff, and you had this happen.
Okay,
to
you want me to tell this
you
story?
got to tell the story.
Let me tell this story.
This is crazy.
Okay, so this was years ago. I had just gotten a new coach, and he was the first one that challenged me to do a 30-year plan. And
This is your first 30-year plan.
My first
you talked about
30-year
the other
plan.
day. You're adjusting
my
it now.
First 30-year plan. And he coached me on it and gave me all these tips and tactics, and I went off and I created that. And so I'm having a phone call with him, and he said, fantastic. He said, don't send it to me yet. He said, now I want you to go put together the first draft of your next 12 months plan in light of, if this is where you're trying to go over the next 30 years,
Yeah.
what do you think year one of this needs to look like? And so I created year one. I sent it to him along with the 30-year. And I was in the airport. Again, I'd never had a coach, at least not one at this level. This was a high-powered coach. So I really didn't fully understand maybe what I was getting myself into. And so I had a call scheduled. I was at an airport between flights, and I'm thinking, well, this is no big deal. I'll just grab this, but while I'm getting on the plane, he can tell me my plan looks great. I can go about my life.
You can go home.
And he thanked me for sending the documents, and he said, I just need to tell you, you either have to change your 30-year plan or you have to change your annual plan. And I remember thinking, well, I kind of like both of those. I said, why would I have to change one or the other? And he said, because there is absolutely no way on earth that you will get where you want to go in 30 years if what you sent me in your annual plan is your idea on how to get there.
This is what you're planning on doing.
He said,
gosh. That's funny.
You will never get to your destination. So either change the short-term plan or change the destination. And so that was my first call. That's when I realized I was in pretty deep. And so let me finish that and say, I didn't really know what he was talking about, because I wrote the 2 plans. I loved them both. And I said, can you give me an example? And I remember asking him with fear and trepidation.
You know it was coming.
Well, I didn't know what was coming,
Yeah.
but there was obviously,
But you knew something
there
was.
was something wasn't right. And he said, okay. He said, let's take your relationship with your wife. And I went, okay. And he said, well, it looks like here, based on your 30-year plan, that you want to have an intimate, loving relationship with her
30 years
when
from
you're
now.
old.
Yeah.
And I said, that'd be great. And he said, well, you can't get there with
What you're planning on
with
doing?
one date night a month. He said, those are incongruent.
Oh my goodness.
And I went, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was an example where he called me out early. He said, you got to do more. And then he said, last thought on this, he said, I think I know your problem, which I thought was great because it was my second call with this guy. He said, I think you have an event mentality. He said, you need a process mentality. Yeah. He said, you build a 30-year relationship with a process, not with these,
not a date night once a month.
Not one date night a month is just not going to do it. And so
that's good. But that all happened because you shared your plan.
I shared my plan.
Somebody. Yeah, exactly.
That was the point. I shared the plan.
Yeah.
So we can get input on the plan. We can also get encouragement.
Yeah.
We can get accountability.
Yeah.
When
that's
we
one of the
share
things
our
that's
plan.
been great with our group. And when we share those plans, and once you go public with it, now you're kind of committed to it, right? You said you're going to do this, and we had an example a couple nights ago where somebody was sharing something and you asked the question from something they had committed to a year ago.
I said, hey, what happened to last year?
Yeah, and they're
committed
like,
to X, Y, Z.
They may need to move that forward. Exactly. And so when you go public, you've got. I think the other thing that becomes powerful when we do that is we set ourselves up to go together as well. And like when you have some people around you right now, if you're writing a plan out there and you've got some people around you that you could get to write a plan with you. And I would say this, if you're leading a department or a team or whatever, why would you not want everybody on your team at some level having a written development plan? If I'm employing somebody, I would want them to all be getting better if I'm thinking about that. And so I think there's a lot of powerful opportunity there to create accountability. And you talk about accountability a little bit differently than most people I've ever heard talk about it.
Yeah. I've long said that accountability needs a rebranding campaign.
Yeah.
And so
it does have a bad rap.
I talk about it as the gift of accountability.
Yeah.
Because I believe that most humans want to be successful. And accountability is one of those mechanisms that can help people be successful, help them accomplish what they want to accomplish. But you got to shift your mindset. If you think it's punitive, then you're not going to want to provide accountability, and you're not going to receive accountability, and you're going to suboptimize your potential. I often talk about a kite. Do you know the most important piece of a kite? And if you can ask people, they're gonna say, well, it's the tail, or it's the cross members if it's a traditional kite, or wrong, or the sail, wrong. The most important part of a kite is the string. Without the string, without the accountability to the earth, the kite cannot fly. And so if you and I want to soar, if we want to accomplish all that we can accomplish, we need accountability.
We got to have some authority. We got to have some accountability around us built in to hold us. We're tethered to. I think that's a powerful thought there. So this idea of sharing your plan, it's been huge for both of us. And I would encourage anybody out there who's listening, when you create your plan, you've got your written plan. Hopefully it's in the works, or maybe you've already finished that first draft. It doesn't have to be your final draft, but it is a place for you to start to put in front of the 3 or 4 people around your life who you care about the most, who you're in the trenches with the most. Those people that can give you some input, can give you some feedback, can help you with your blind spots. They call them blind spots for a reason. You can't see them. When you ask the people around you to speak into that, it becomes a powerful way to enhance your plan before you create that final version that we're close to that. We're going to talk about that as we go tomorrow. But today, go ahead and finish that first draft. Get it in front of a couple of people that are trusted advisors, some people around you that can help you maybe take it to the next level. And if you'll do that, you're going to be set up to have a really great plan when it becomes final as we move forward. All right.
And when you share it with them, listen, don't defend.
Yeah.
Thank them, and then you can decide later what to do with their feedback.
Yeah, I think that's so great.
Don't defend. Thank them. Open-ended questions. Tell me more is a great thing to say when somebody says, "Well, what about this? What about that?" Say, "Tell me more."
Yeah, that's good. And you're gonna get all kind of gold there when you start talking to people. I would encourage you today. You're kind of our takeaway today. Take that plan and share with 3 people over the next couple of days. Once you get it locked down, I say locked down. Once you get that first draft done, share with 3 people. Get their input. And see what adjustments you can make. And I love your word there to listen. I think that's really powerful. All right, we appreciate you listening. Appreciate you sharing with your friends and family. Let's continue to work toward our best year ever. Remember, the best leaders lead every day.